Making duct tape Mando armor. You have to begin somewhere, and what you begin with is these things. Actually, this is a masking tape example, not a duct tape one, but it uses the same method. You take the strips and you just put it horizontally, sticky side up, and then you put the other one sticky side down, vertically, so the two sticky sides stick together, and you end up with these sheets like this. And you go and make templates to go and cut this out of, and then just go and make those three-dimensional, which is the basic principle of the thing. And these are some templates. This is the back plate. It's really simple. There's just two little cuts here just to give it a little bit of shape. Not all that complex. This is the next one, like this. See? Here's the front. It actually has some unusual symmetry in it. See, these were actually used to be cut in force. Not cut in force, folded in force. So it's kind of like all together. But I folded this little, kind of like, it's kind of at an angle to go and like shape it and make it 3D as it should be. I mean, obviously, that's just, this stuff is self-explanatory. I mean, when you go and do it, you'll understand it. Seriously, you just need a basic idea. This is a leg thing. It's not as confusing with the symmetry as that one. It's just down the middle, but it has more cuts in it. So it goes like, ooh. And just so you're wondering, I shaped this around myself. This is the shin guard. Yeah. Now this is the biggest granddaddy template of them all. It has a gazillion slits, and I'll explain the purposes of them. See this one? One of these is actually the slit that you cut on when you go and cut this out using a template while you're on the sheet from tracing out, but the other one marks where it goes. So in other words, see, I first shaped this, and see, this is the actual cut, but this is the cut that shows where it goes. But you trace both onto it using a marker or Sharpie or dry erase, something of the type. And this is oh. And this is for the dome. Yes, this is for the dome. I actually did a little bit of modification after, but yeah, that's for the dome. And this is for the breastplate. There's only one, since you can obviously go and flip it. Yeah, this is an instance where guys are luckier, since, hey, you don't have, in girls, this is a really hard piece to make. It took, like, I can't remember how long to just go and cut out all these little slits on it. But yeah, guys, you're lucky on this one. I mean, pretty much, after you go, you make the sheet, you go and trace the template onto it, you just kind of tape it down, like, using, like, masking tape or duct tape. But I recommend electrical tape, since it holds well, but it comes up very easily. So you just go trace it on there, you cut it out, and you cut on the cutting slits, not on the other ones. Yeah, and I mean, when you go and make a template, you just go like form around what you want it to be, or yeah, something like that. But most of the pieces are pretty simple. And then there's always this thing about decoration, like this, or most noticeably this. That's pretty much you just go and use the X-acto knife for all the curving things, the little different things. But for this stuff I actually pretty much, I traced down the lines, see where there's those little lines, that was where I wanted it to be. Then I just used edges of duct tape around it and just put it down, just like that. But the real big deal is this. Yeah, the helmet. Because this is the hardest thing to make of all the pieces, and it's the most distinctive and the most important. This is actually not the original thing. The original thing is made out of poster board and paper. It actually didn't have the dome, of course. That was just, you know, in the template. But I mean, there was this, you first make it in paper, because think of it, it's just pretty much simple. This is a flat line, this is something that curves, this is something that curves, and that's something that curves. It's very much simple. And I mean, it was a really rough thing. It doesn't have this stuff on the sides. So you go and you make that first. And that gives you your templates to make the things. And so, yeah. And here, there's this big wire running all around here. that gives it its shape. And there's little pieces of thick duct tape where it just goes and gives it more shape. Yeah, and the antenna, there's a wire in that too, just to give it support. And the wire runs all the way down there to give it, make sure it stands up. That's actually why it leans a little bit to the side, because it is on its side. And these weren't made in the original cardboard model. They were just added later, just as you know, it kind of goes along thing. And of course, I cut out the eye holes. These little pieces of plastic, they're from like cheapo sunglasses. You know, like party favors, you know, like heart shapes and star shapes. That's where those were from. Right? So yeah, on the top of the antenna, this is actually several layers to give it a nice little 3D look. You can't really tell, but there's actually there's several layers in there. Yeah. And then there's obviously the arm things. Yeah, I had the lovely misfortune of sticking some of the other pieces of the armor top of it, so it's kind of like squished. But yeah. And I mean, the hardest part of this is actually fitting this piece, because this piece is really important. Because without that, you can't go and put this down. And this is pretty simple. You just figure out. Well, it's not simple. It's actually kind of hard when you do it, since you have to make sure it works. To kind of go figure out that template using the width of that, you figure out that, and since the width of that determines that, yeah, and then that's pretty simple, of course. But the hardest part is right here. You have to be very careful with it, because you have to make sure it kind of curves with your arm. I mean, pretty much, since it's duct tape, it's flexible, so it doesn't have to be exact, but that's kind of annoying. Yeah. And with the other one, it's pretty much the exact same thing, just different sizes and proportions. I mean, all this stuff, what I'm wearing, it was actually all duct taped to my clothes. Yeah, so that's pretty explanatory too. So, there you have it. Making duct tape Mando armor. Have any questions, comments, concerns? Please comment.